Have you ever looked around and wondered why only a tiny fraction of people rise to the top while the overwhelming majority live ordinary lives filled with postponed dreams and unrealized potential? Why do only 2% succeed while 98% remain stuck in cycles of wishing instead of winning? The truth is not hidden in luck, privilege, or some secret formula reserved for a chosen few. The difference begins in the mind, in the daily choices people make, and in the standards they are willing to uphold when no one is watching. The 98% wait for the perfect moment, the right time, the right connection, the right opportunity. But the 2% understand a powerful truth. There is never a perfect time to start. Conditions will never be flawless. Fear will never fully disappear. And certainty is a luxury that success rarely provides. The people who succeed decide to move forward anyway. They take action while others hesitate. And that single decision separates extraordinary lives from average ones. Most people are addicted to comfort without even realizing it. Comfort feels safe, predictable, and easy. But it quietly steals your future because nothing grows inside a comfort zone. Think about it. Muscles grow through resistance, character grows through challenges, and success grows through discomfort. The 2% train themselves to embrace what is difficult because they know that every uncomfortable step is expanding their limits. Meanwhile, the 98% choose the familiar path even when it leads nowhere because it protects them from temporary pain while silently guaranteeing long-term regret. One day, the pain of staying the same always becomes greater than the pain of change. But by then, many have already settled for less than they were capable of becoming. Responsibility is another line that divides the successful from the average. When life becomes hard, and it will, the 98% look outward for someone or something to blame. They blame their background, their education, the economy, their boss, their family, bad luck, or unfair circumstances. Blame feels relieving in the moment because it removes pressure, but it also removes power. The moment you blame, you surrender control. The 2%, however, ask a different question. What can I do now? That question is transformative because it shifts you from victim to creator. Successful people may not control everything that happens to them, but they always control how they respond. And in that response lies their strength. Discipline is where dreams stop being fantasies and start becoming reality. Motivation is wonderful, but it is unreliable. It rises when you feel inspired and disappears when things get difficult. If you only act when you feel motivated, you will live a stop-and-start life full of unfinished goals. The 2% do not rely on feelings. They rely on commitment. They show up when they are tired, when progress feels invisible, when results are slow, and when nobody is applauding them. They understand that greatness is not built in dramatic moments, but in small, repeated actions that compound over time. Reading a few pages every day may not feel revolutionary, but over years it builds knowledge that changes how you think. Exercising regularly may seem ordinary, but it strengthens the body and sharpens the mind required to pursue big goals. Saving money consistently creates freedom. Improving one skill at a time builds confidence. These habits look small, almost insignificant, yet they are the bricks from which extraordinary lives are built. Time is the most valuable asset you possess, yet most people spend it as if it were unlimited. The 98% procrastinate with dangerous phrases like, "I'll start tomorrow," or "one day things will change." But tomorrow is not a strategy. It is an excuse that delays transformation. The 2% treat time with respect because they know every hour is either building their future or quietly eroding it. Imagine where you could be 5 years from now if you improve just a little each day. Now imagine where you will be if you change nothing. That gap between those two futures is created by how you use your time starting today. Fear is another invisible barrier that holds countless people back from stepping into their potential. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough. These fears convince people to shrink their dreams until they fit inside their comfort zones. But understand this clearly. The 2% feel fear too. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that your future matters more than your anxiety. Every confident person you admire was once uncertain. Every successful individual once doubted themselves. What separates them is simple. They acted despite the doubt. Action creates confidence, while avoidance strengthens fear. Persistence is equally essential because success rarely happens quickly. We live in a world obsessed with instant results, but the most meaningful achievements require patience. Many people quit during the phase where nothing seems to be happening, not realizing that progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Success is like planting a seed. For a long time, all the growth happens beneath the surface. If you dig it up every day to check whether it's working, you destroy the process. The 2% trust the process. They keep watering the seed through effort, learning, and resilience until eventually the results break through. Focus is becoming a rare superpower in a distracted world. Notifications, endless scrolling, comparison, entertainment, these are not harmless habits. They are stealing the energy you could be investing into your dreams. The successful protect their focus because they know that where focus goes, progress follows. Saying yes to distractions is often saying no to your future. You cannot build an exceptional life with scattered attention. Instead, you must decide what truly matters and give it your full presence. Another critical difference is long-term thinking. The 98% chase immediate pleasure, quick entertainment, easy money, temporary comfort, while the 2% are willing to sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. They practice delayed gratification because they understand that short-term discipline creates long-term freedom. While others are spending impulsively, they are investing. While others are complaining, they are improving. While others are waiting, they are executing. Ideas alone do not change your life. Execution does. You do not need to be the most talented person in the room. Consistency often beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. Remember this, small improvements repeated daily create massive transformation over time. Becoming just 1% better each day may sound insignificant, but over months and years, it completely alters your direction. Self-belief is the fuel that keeps you moving when the path becomes difficult. If deep down you believe that an extraordinary life is not meant for you, you will unconsciously sabotage your own progress. The 2% choose to believe that growth is always possible. They see challenges as training, not punishment. They refuse to let temporary setbacks define their identity. Instead, they focus on who they are becoming, stronger, wiser, more capable with every obstacle they overcome. Your identity shapes your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. When you begin to see yourself as someone who keeps promises, someone who finishes what they start, someone who refuses to quit, your behavior naturally rises to match that image. Success is less about achieving and more about becoming the kind of person who can sustain that success. Another powerful truth that separates the 2% from the 98% is their relationship with failure. Most people see failure as a sign to stop, a verdict that they are not good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to continue. But the highest achievers see failure differently. They see it as feedback, as guidance, as proof that they are stretching beyond their comfort zone. Understand this clearly. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the path to success. Every mistake carries a lesson. Every setback builds resilience. And every obstacle strengthens the mindset required to win. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall countless times, yet they never interpret falling as proof that walking is impossible. They simply get back up. Somewhere along the journey to adulthood, many people lose that persistence. They begin to fear falling more than they desire growth. The 2%, however, never lose that childlike determination. They fall, they learn, they adjust, and they rise stronger each time. And eventually, what once felt impossible becomes their new normal. Another difference lies in standards. Successful people set higher standards for their lives and refuse to negotiate with mediocrity. They do not ask, what is the easiest way to live? They ask, what is the highest version of myself I can become? Standards shape decisions, and decisions shape destiny. When your standards are low, you tolerate excuses, procrastination, negativity, and average effort. But when your standards rise, your habits must rise with them. You begin to protect your time, guard your energy, and become intentional about who you allow into your life. Remember this. Life rarely rises above the standards you set for it. If you want an exceptional future, you must demand more from yourself than most people are willing to demand. Environment is another silent force shaping your success. You cannot spend every day surrounded by negativity and expect to build a positive life. The people around you influence your thinking more than you realize. If you stay close to those who complain constantly, avoid responsibility, and fear growth, their mindset will slowly feel normal to you. But when you surround yourself with people who dream bigger, work harder, and expect more from life, their energy elevates your own. This does not mean you must abandon everyone from your past. It means you must become intentional about your influences. Growth sometimes requires distance from environments that no longer align with your future. And yes, that can feel uncomfortable, even lonely at times. But remember, the path to greatness is not crowded. Not everyone will understand your ambition, and that is perfectly okay. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to become everything you were created to be. The 2% also understand the importance of continuous learning. The moment you believe you know enough is the moment your growth begins to decline. The world is constantly evolving, and those who succeed evolve with it. They read, they listen, they ask questions, they seek mentors, and they remain students no matter how much they achieve. Personal growth is not a phase. It is a lifelong commitment. And here is something many people overlook. Your income rarely exceeds your level of personal development. To earn more, you must become more. To achieve more, you must grow more. Investing in yourself will always produce the highest returns. Gratitude is another hidden strength of the successful. While the 98% focus obsessively on what is missing, the 2% appreciate what they already have while working toward what they want. Gratitude shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. It reminds you that progress is possible and that even small victories deserve recognition. This does not mean you become complacent. It means you build your future from a place of strength rather than frustration. Energy management is equally critical because success demands stamina. You cannot build a powerful life with a constantly exhausted mind and body. The 2% respect their health because they understand that their body is the vehicle carrying their dreams. They prioritize sleep, movement, and mental recovery. They understand that burnout is not a badge of honor. Sustainable effort is what creates lasting success. Another defining trait is emotional resilience. Life will test you. There will be seasons when nothing goes according to plan, moments when doubt grows louder than belief, and days when quitting feels tempting. During those times, average people allow emotions to control their decisions, but the 2% learn to feel emotions without being ruled by them. They acknowledge disappointment without surrendering to it. They experience fear without obeying it. They face uncertainty without retreating. Resilience does not mean you never struggle. It means you refuse to stay down. Patience is another rare quality in a fast-moving world. Many people overestimate what they can achieve in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. True success is not built overnight. It is constructed day by day through consistent effort. Imagine a plane adjusting its direction by just a few degrees. Over a long distance, that tiny shift leads to a completely different destination. Your daily habits work the same way. Small improvements may feel insignificant today, but over time they transform your entire life trajectory. This is why consistency will always outperform intensity. You do not need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. Comparison is another trap that keeps the 98% stuck. Looking constantly at someone else's progress can make you feel behind, but you are not meant to live their life. You are meant to build yours. The only person you should strive to be better than is the person you were yesterday. Growth is personal, not competitive. Stay focused on your path, your mission, your evolution. Confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself. Every time you say you will do something and follow through, you strengthen your self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of unstoppable confidence. One of the greatest illusions holding people back is the belief that successful individuals are somehow extraordinary or fundamentally different. In reality, most of them simply made a decision that average was no longer acceptable, that excuses would no longer control them, and that their potential deserved to be fully expressed. That decision is available to you right now, not next year, not when circumstances improve, now. Because the future is not something that happens to you. It is something you create through daily choices. Imagine yourself years from today. Will you look back with pride, knowing you pursued your potential with courage? Or will you wonder what might have happened if you had believed in yourself just a little more? Regret is far heavier than discipline will ever be. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret can last a lifetime. So decide today to step out of the 98%. Decide that fear will no longer dictate your direction. Decide that your dreams deserve effort, that your goals deserve focus, and that your life deserves intentional action. You do not have to transform everything overnight. Just start. Start before you feel ready. Start while it is still uncomfortable. Start even if progress seems slow. Momentum is born in the moment you refuse to stay still. As you move forward, you will discover strengths you did not know you possessed, opportunities you could not previously see, and a version of yourself far greater than the one you once doubted. Understand this final truth. The difference between the 2% and the 98% is not destiny, intelligence, or background. It is the willingness to act consistently despite fear, despite difficulty, and despite uncertainty. Greatness is not reserved for a select few. It is available to anyone brave enough to pursue it. So raise your standards, strengthen your discipline, protect your focus, invest in your growth, and refuse to quit. Let others choose comfort if they wish. You were not created for an average life. You were created with the capacity to grow, achieve, and become unstoppable. The question is no longer why only 2% succeed. The real question is this: will you make the decision, starting today, to become one of them?